Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, enigmatic visions in the entire Bible. We're talking about a scene of cosmic judgment with an angel, a dragon, and three very symbolic objects.
Wow, what a scene, right? This moment from the book of Revelation really kicks things off. So let's just dive right in. What are these powerful symbols? The key, the chain, and the pit. What do they really mean in this incredible vision?
Okay, so the first thing we absolutely have to get straight is that we're not dealing with literal, physical stuff here. The source material is super clear on this. We're in a prophetic vision, which means everything you see is symbolic. It's all about these deep spiritual concepts.
So, that's the big question, isn't it? What does it all represent? Think of it like a puzzle, and we're going to solve it piece by piece, starting with that first object the angel is holding, the key.
All right, so when it comes to the key, the source sermon we're looking at has a really interesting take. It says that whenever the Bible brings up a key, you should pretty much forget about a simple metal tool. It's almost always a symbol for something way bigger, divine power and authority.
Right, so this angel isn't some kind of cosmic locksmith. He's a messenger, and he's been given authority directly from God. You'll notice the Hindi term there on the slide, which kind of connects us to the deep, ancient roots of these ideas. This key he's holding, it's his God-given right to go and carry out a very specific mission. But what kind of authority are we really talking about here?
And this is where things get really interesting. The source material points out that there are actually two types of spiritual keys. You've got the key of heaven, which was given to people like Peter, for building the church and offering salvation. But then you have this other key, the key of the pit. That one is given to angels, and its job is totally different. It's for judgment, for confining evil forces. See? Two different keys for two completely different jobs.
Okay, so that's the key. Now let's look at the other thing the angel is holding, that great chain. This is where it all starts to connect. If the key is the authority to act, then the chain is the power that comes with it. It's the power to restrain, or as the Bible puts it, to bind.
You know, it's interesting, the posture we're drawing from points out that this whole idea of binding shows up in a few different ways in the Bible. Of course, you have the big one, the cosmic binding of Satan himself for 1,000 years, but then it also gets really personal. It can refer to something like casting out an evil spirit or even healing a physical sickness that's thought to be caused by some spiritual force.
And to make this idea really click, the sermon brings up this incredible story where Jesus heals a woman. She was physically bent over, had been for years, but listen to how Jesus describes it. He says Satan had bound her. So the healing wasn't just physical, it was an act of loosing her from that spiritual bond. It's such a powerful picture of what this chain can represent.
Okay, so we've got the key, which is authority, and the chain, which is power. So, where is the dragon actually being taken? He gets thrown into the bottomless pit.
Now this bottomless pit, it's not some hole in the ground. You have to think of it as a spiritual prison, a realm of confinement. And again, you see the Hindi term on the slide. The source material links this to other parts of the Bible, like 2 Peter and Jude, where it's described as a kind of holding cell for rebellious spiritual beings.
But here's a fascinating twist. The sermon points out that this pit isn't just a place where things get locked away. In another part of Revelation, the figure we know as the beast actually comes out of this very same abyss. So what does that tell us? It's a place of confinement, for sure. But it can also be a launching point for forces that are hostile to God's plan. It's a two-way street, in a way.
All right, so let's put it all together. The key, the chain, the pit. It all leads to the big question. Why? Why does all this happen? What's the whole point of locking Satan up for 1,000 years?
And the vision is incredibly specific about how long this lasts. 1,000 years. I mean, this isn't just a short timeout. It's a huge, significant period of time where Satan's ability to mess with the world is drastically cut back.
So what's the result? What does this binding actually achieve? Well, the sermon breaks it down into 3 key things. For those 1,000 years, Satan can't deceive the nations with lies, he can't stand before God and accuse people, and he can't inflict that widespread suffering and pain that he's known for. So the bottom line is this. The whole point of this binding is to kickstart a massive era of divine order and peace. It's a vision of what the world could be like when the primary sources of spiritual chaos and deception are just taken off the board, even if it's only for a while. And that's where we're going to wrap up this part of the story. Because you see, the scripture itself says that after those 1,000 years are up, the dragon must be released for a little while.
And that leaves us with one final, massive question for the next chapter of the story. What on earth happens when the chain comes off?